H1. The day America almost lost its mind. H2. The true story of the dancing plague that reached the New World. Before we begin, if you love strange, forgotten, real American history told like a story, make sure you subscribe, because what you're about to hear sounds impossible. But it happened, and it almost tore a nation apart. In the summer of 1518, in the city of Strasbourg, then part of the Holy Roman Empire, something unexplainable began. A woman stepped into the street, and she started to dance. Not gracefully, not joyfully, not for celebration. She danced as if something inside her had snapped. Her name was Frau Trophia, and she would not stop. For hours she twisted and stomped on the cobblestones beneath the burning July sun. Neighbors laughed at first, then they watched. Then they grew uncomfortable. By the end of the week, dozens had joined her. By the end of the month, hundreds. Some danced until their feet bled. Some collapsed from exhaustion. Some died. Historians would later call it the dancing plague. And for centuries, Americans dismissed it as a strange European medieval episode. A curiosity of superstition and ignorance. Until 1892. Until it happened again. In America. Chapter 1. The Town That Shouldn't Have Been Afraid. In the late 19th century, America believed itself modern. Railroads stitched the continent together. Factories roared. Electricity was beginning to flicker into cities like New York and Chicago. And in rural Pennsylvania, in a coal mining town that barely appeared on maps, progress was a distant rumor. The town was called Ash Hollow. Population 1,734. It sat tucked between forested ridges and coal-black hills. Air, thick, with soot and ambition. Immigrants from Germany, Poland, Ireland, and Italy lived shoulder to shoulder in wooden houses that trembled when the mines blasted dynamite underground. They brought with them language. They brought religion. They brought old fears. And unknowingly, they brought history. It began on a Sunday, August 7th, 1892. The church bell rang 3 times that morning, once for service, once for a wedding, and once for a miner crushed under rockfall before sunrise. Death was common in Ash Hollow, but what happened after the funeral was not. Witnesses would later testify that a young girl named Anna Weiss, age 17, daughter of German immigrants, began trembling during the burial hymn. At first it looked like grief. Then she stepped away from the crowd, and she began to move. Not cry, not scream, move. Her arms jerked violently. Her feet pounded the dirt beside the open grave. Some thought it was possession. Others thought it was hysteria. But Anna did not stop. Even when her mother slapped her. Even when 2 men tried to hold her down. Even when she collapsed, only to rise again and continue moving. By nightfall, 3 others were doing the same. Chapter 2. When Doctors Don't Have Answers. Dr. William Hargrove arrived the next morning. He was the only formally trained physician within 20 miles, educated in Philadelphia, proud of modern science, dismissive of superstition. He examined Anna Weiss. Pulse rapid, skin flushed, pupils dilated. But no fever, no infection, no visible neurological damage. When he ordered her restrained, she began thrashing with unnatural endurance. She did not respond to pain. And then something chilling happened. As he stood back to observe, a coal miner named Patrick Doyle, age 32, began twitching in the corner of the room. Within minutes, he too was dancing. Not rhythmically, convulsively. By Wednesday, 12 townspeople were affected. By Friday, 38. The newspapers called it Pennsylvania's dancing sickness. Reporters from Pittsburgh arrived with cameras the size of furniture. Sketch artists, documented contorted bodies in the streets. The affected seemed trapped inside their own limbs. They did not sleep. They did not eat. Some whispered in German while they moved. Some prayed. Some laughed hysterically. And some cried as they danced. Dr. Hargrove wrote in his journal, "The condition spreads not by contact, but by sight. It is as if witnessing the movement plants a seed in the mind." He was unknowingly echoing 16th-century European accounts that had been forgotten. Chapter 3. Fear is contagious. Ash Hollow began to fracture. The Irish blamed the Germans. The Germans blamed demonic influence. The church declared a day of fasting. Miners refused to work beside affected men. Children were kept home from school. A rumor spread that contaminated flour from a local mill contained ergot fungus, the same mold that can grow on rye and produce hallucinogenic effects. Hargrove investigated. The flour was clean. The water supply was clean. There was no toxin, no pathogen, no poison. Yet still they danced. And then the first death came. Not from exhaustion, not from injury, but from heart failure. Mary Kowalski, age 44, collapsed mid-movement and never rose again. Her husband claimed she had whispered something before she fell. "They are calling us." No one could explain who they were. Chapter 4. A Pattern Across the Ocean. A young journalist named Samuel Reed made a connection. Reed had studied European history at Columbia University. When he saw the convulsions in Ash Hollow, something stirred in his memory. He requested archives from New York, and within a week, he stood before town officials holding a translated manuscript from 1518 Strasbourg. The descriptions matched: the trembling, the compulsion, the spread through observation, the deaths. It was almost identical. The mayor laughed at him. How can something from medieval Germany cross centuries and oceans? Reed didn't have an answer, but the German immigrants did, because many families in Ash Hollow traced their lineage to Alsace, the very region where the original dancing plague erupted. Some of them carried oral stories passed down through generations. Stories of saints, of curses, of Saint Vitus's punishment. And when those stories resurfaced in the terrified minds of Ash Hollow, the movements intensified. Chapter 5. The Science of the Unseen. Modern historians and neurologists would later analyze the Ash Hollow outbreak. They would consider mass psychogenic illness, collective stress response, cultural memory manifesting physically. In 1892, Ash Hollow was under enormous strain. Coal prices had crashed. Miners feared unemployment. Wages were being cut. Accidents were increasing. Psychological pressure was at a boiling point. And the human brain, under extreme stress, can do extraordinary things. The first documented American case of mass psychogenic movement disorder had unfolded. But the people living through it did not see science. They saw apocalypse. For 3 weeks, the town trembled. Then, as mysteriously as it began, it faded. 1. The dancers stopped. Exhausted, bruised, confused. Many remembered nothing. Others described a dreamlike fog. By September, Ash Hollow returned to work. The mines reopened. The newspapers moved on. And America forgot. Epilogue. The warning we ignore. The Ash Hollow incident never made it into most textbooks. But archived medical journals confirm it. Personal diaries confirm it. Death certificates confirm it. And in the 20th century, similar outbreaks would appear in schools, factories, and military bases across America, proving one terrifying truth: the human mind, under pressure, can infect itself. Not with bacteria, not with viruses, but with belief. And belief can move muscles. Belief can stop hearts. belief can make entire towns dance.